Hey everybody, it is me. It's your old buddy Steve Simonson. I'm coming back with another episode of the Awesomers.com podcast series. And this is actually episode number 158. And all you have to do is go to awesomers.com/158 to see any show notes and details. And I'll put some links on there or something, maybe some more elaborate notes than normal even. Today's a special episode, a weird episode, because I'm basically letting you guys know that last Friday I began treatment for stage IV melanoma cancer. Now, this obviously not my favorite thing to share, and certainly not even my favorite thing to deal with, but it is what it is. And it's going to have slight modifications on my schedule, and I just wanted to share with you guys what that means from my perspective, and also set the record straight, because I know people start to worry or they start to have questions, and I just want to make sure that you guys hear directly from me. So first of all, otherwise, I remain very healthy and strong and relatively young and fit to fight this particular illness. I have no current side effects of the treatment from last Friday. I have no symptoms of the internal issues that happen to be happening. And that's good, right? I feel good, and I have really no way of knowing. In fact, I wouldn't know this was even happening, except there's some internal scans that were happening over the past few months, which included some recent biopsies last week that kind of laid out the challenge ahead, if you will. And for those who are interested, I don't exactly know where this came from. You may notice that I have kind of a scar on my forehead. I've had that scar. It's kind of a giant S shape for Superman. No, for Steve. No, it was actually they removed something from my forehead many years ago that was not melanoma yet. It was precancerous, but it had I can't remember what they call it, plastia, I don't know. But they're like, hey, we got to get rid of that thing. And I don't even remember when this was. I would say it's anywhere from 18 to 20 years ago. And there's some speculation that, maybe whatever was up there didn't get fully dealt with and it ran amok. But there's other ways these things could happen. But as my doctor told me last Friday, it doesn't matter how. It matters we deal with what we got right now. So my treatment will begin in the form of immunotherapy, which is a more effective version of chemotherapy, and will have fewer side effects, hopefully. And for example, Friday, I had no negative side effects. I didn't even notice. I drove myself there, did my thing, and drove away. And so in spite of that treatment happening last week, I will still depart for China this coming weekend for a sourcing trip with many great entrepreneurs from around the world. And my kids are expected to come along. I have as always, a last minute Chinese visa issue we're trying to iron out for my son, who is a minor. But assuming that we get all of the paperwork in order, they'll come along to Hong Kong and China with me, and the trip will continue without any impact. And even if the kids don't end up going due to visa things, I'll still be there and doing my thing. So we're going to have a great time, and it's going to be business as usual. I'm not really changing anything that I need to do on a day-to-day basis. That said, my future schedule may be modestly adjusted to accommodate more frequent hotel visits. I generally consider this thing a giant annoying inconvenience. As of this moment, that's how I look at it, because I'm fine. I'll carry on with my important priorities. Those priorities include things like the Empower Cooperative and doing some awesomer stuff from time to time. But my lower priority businesses, I'll probably start selling those, discarding those, or divesting from those, especially if they have a consumer focus, so that I can put my priorities on my health, kids, and other entrepreneurial community resources and activities. Now, if there does come a day, for example, that I don't feel kind of up to doing some of these things, then I'll step back. And my priority, of course, will be my health and my family. But that's not where we're at today. In fact, we're not near that point from my perspective. It's still, there's a long way to go. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to whack this thing and be done with it. So this will happen over the course of the next several months. And And again, I don't expect much to be happening with regard to most of my day-to-day activities that I am focusing on. One of the things I want to share with you guys is I'm focused, I've sold stuff B2C for a generation plus, right? For certainly well over 20 years. And I'm pretty good at it. I get it. It's not that interesting to me. Racking up your score, it's probably very close that in total turnover that I've put together has now passed around $1 billion at the total revenue level. But don't get it twisted. That doesn't mean some $1 billion ended up in my pocket. That's not how businesses work. Many of these enterprises had dozens or even hundreds of employees, investors, and all kinds of expenses. So it's not like these things are, revenue does not equal profit. And from time to time, I repeat, slogans around that, revenues for vanity and profits for sanity. So I just want to let you guys know I pass certain benchmarks that I feel good about, and therefore my consumer orientation may be ratcheted down somewhat, with the exception of network effect businesses that I still love and I find the most satisfaction and fulfillment from, like the Empowery Co-op. If you haven't joined, I encourage you to join. It's a systemic way to help all e-commerce entrepreneurs. The Awesomers podcast, I even have a greater sense of urgency to put things out there and publish them for the benefit of my kids and for my fellow entrepreneurs. And projects like kevinandsteve.com and sellerchatbot.com and other things that I'm involved in. Those, I want to make sure that those are successful and really pushed out there. So lower priorities go away, higher priorities take the focus. That's a good thing. Now, obviously, this is not, again, a fun topic and certainly not something I volunteered for. But the reality is it's here, and I'm going to deal with it and carry on. As I like to say, keep calm and carry on. And I stole that, of course, from Winston Churchill, and I believe it. And I have no doubt that this will just be another obstacle that I'll overcome and carry on. So again, I'll be changing my schedule somewhat. And despite my normal private nature, I don't usually share stuff. In fact, on my Facebook, my kids are my number one. I love my kids. I love my family. But I don't think I've ever posted my pictures of my kids or things that my kids are doing, just out of their respect to their privacy. Mostly I show my personal persona and professional persona. And I don't get much into the personal side. But I know this is very personal, and so I'm just letting you guys know I'm outside my comfort zone. And the reason I'm actually sharing this at all, I would actually not tell anybody anything if there weren't kind of external consequences. One of those consequences is for everybody who calls me, emails me, texts me, messages me, and asks for help or other types of things, there may be a delay in me getting back to you based on any number of these things that I'm prioritizing. And in fact, I would recommend that people who need that help go to the Facebook groups that I frequent, go to empowery.com/contact and ask for support there, because I'm just going to be slower and I may not be able to respond at all. I love entrepreneurs and I love to say that I'm at your service, and I'm quite serious about that. My mentality in that regard will not cease. I will not stop, because that's just part of my DNA. That's part of who I am. But it's logical to assume that, in fact, my priorities and focus on recovery and on my family may need to come before I tell you what size pallet you should take, or how to find a certain supplier in Vietnam or whatever. Anything that is done through the pay-for-play businesses, obviously those will be priorities, Simo Global, Empowery, et cetera, but for literally every day, there's somebody asking for help online, and I love to help. I've counted up at one point, and it's certainly well over 1,000 individual help requests that I've tried to help over these years, and I just may not have that time in the future. That's why I'm sharing this, because I don't want you to look at it and go, well, geez, Steve used to be helpful, now he's just kind of a jerk ignoring me. I was always a jerk, and I just chose not to ignore you. No, I try not to be a jerk, and my attention will be on where it needs to be for all the right reasons. I'm sure you understand. So, listen, there's no doubt I will overcome this illness. And I didn't volunteer for this assignment, let's be clear. But I have received the assignment, and I'm actually thankful for the clarity and the overall sense of purpose it gives me, even with a greater urgency, right? There's nothing like focus to go, well, but, is this done, and why not, and what does that mean, and why shouldn't you just get on it and get it done? So there's plenty of things that will come out of this that will be positive, even in the near term, if it's a bit of a headache and a giant inconvenience, as I like to say. So there's lots of things happening in the entrepreneurial community, the Amazon-centric community, the podcasting, so many things are going on. So it's going to be fun. For those who don't know, my buddy Kevin King is holding his second $1 billion Seller Summit in November. And I will be there along with Kevin, and we're going to unveil the next beta round for the kevinandsteve.com project. That is a project near and dear to my heart, and will continue on, and we'll pick up a massive amount of momentum because we have lots of resources deployed to help this. And our current round 1 beta guys are giving us very nice feedback, letting us know we're on the right track. And again, even though we've kept that hush-hush mostly so we don't disappoint people, the one thing I can tell you is designed to help entrepreneurs and their businesses. And that is, part of my core DNA. Melissa Simonson, my sister and also the GM of Empowery, announced the Women's Conference. You can go to empowery.org/women's conference to get the details. Although men are welcome, I would just tell you this is an event produced by women. 100% of the speakers are women, and they'll be speaking in a voice that's oriented towards women entrepreneurs. So although men can go, and obviously you're certainly welcome, this is about women, by women, for women. And so if you're a woman, you definitely should go. And I think it's going to be a terrific, terrific thing. And I'm proud of Melissa and the gang, Megan and others who have been helping along the way to get this thing done. It's going to be really fun. So listen, that's the summary for today. Again, I feel great. Obviously I look great. If you can see the video version of this, you would agree. And I'm going to keep focused on the most important things. We all have a limited time on this planet, and I, plan on spending my time on the most important things, which include my kids, my family, my immediate closest friends, and then my entrepreneurs who I truly do love. When I say I love entrepreneurs, it's not like I love Taco Tuesday. I truly love entrepreneurs, and I want to see each of you that are dedicated and truly committed to this lifestyle, have a wonderful thing. And I apologize on the audio. I forgot to use my microphone on this one, so it may not be great audio. My apologies for that. But I'm just trying to get this thing done. So thank you again, everybody. One final note, I suppose. I know I'm going to get a lot of advice about my medical condition and the things I should be doing. And I would just ask you guys to respect my own sense of leadership. I will decide what I'm going to do and when and where. And as much as I appreciate everybody's well wishes and advice, I'm on it. I got it covered. Please don't feel like you need to send me, if I, do a backflip and eat cinnamon upside down, then the whole thing will go away. I'm on it. I got it. So please refrain from giving me lots of advice on that regard, if you don't mind. Anyway, awesomers.com/158. This is the episode where Steve says he's got cancer and he's dealing with it, and you shouldn't worry about it. And I'll keep doing what I do, and I want you guys to keep doing what you do. Thanks again, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.